Hey guys, welcome back. This is video 1 in our brand new book series, Homeschool Bravely by Jamie Erickson. All right, guys, welcome back. I'm Laura Wilkie with Down Home with Lemon Pie, and I am excited to start the new year with you guys with this brand new book series that we're going to be going through together, Homeschool Bravely by Jamie Erickson. She is the founder of The Unlikely Homeschool, where she helps all kinds of mamas and others involved in homeschooling to thrive in that area in their life. And so we are going to go through her book together. I'm excited to do that. This is, I think, my 4th book series to go through with you guys. Most recently we did Hidden Art of Homemaking, which was a total blessing for homemaking and just making your home a beautiful place for your family, and ways to do that, a very old-fashioned traditional book. We also did M is for Mama in the Past, which I absolutely loved, all things parenting. And probably my most popular series was God Schooling, which completely will change the way you homeschool and the way you think about homeschooling. And I feel like this one, Homeschool Bravely, is going to be right along with that. I feel like it's going to pair up really nicely with it. So I am excited to go through this with you guys. If you haven't already, I do recommend that you grab your own copy, because I am going to be going through this, but I am not going to hit every single detail. And as always, it is so much better to have your own copy so that you can go back and reference and highlight as you go. I call it my highlighter book because I will be going through and highlighting it as well. And so I do encourage you to get your own copy. I got mine off of Amazon, and you can get one there too, or anywhere else that you prefer to get your homeschool books and things like that. So grab your copy if you haven't already. We can still join in. We're going to be going through this together, 1 chapter a week, so look for that. And let's get started on chapter 1. All right, so a little background for Jamie Erickson, the author of this book. She was actually went to school to be a teacher at a traditional public school facility, and when her own child, her oldest child, was old enough to start school, she realized that the best thing for their family was for her to homeschool. So she decided to do that instead. I think she has 4 or 5 children total that she is homeschooling. And in the midst of all of that, she found time to write this book and encourages other mamas. So that is exciting. Coming from that world where you were teaching in the public school, I think is very interesting to learn about. There is another book that we'll probably try to go through with you guys this year called Dumbing Us Down, also by a person who was a teacher in the public school and a male, and he wrote about why it was not the best choice. And I really find that interesting, because sometimes it feels like, oh, we're just the crazy homeschool moms who are deciding to go out on a whim and homeschool our kids because we're just crazy and different. And when people leave the traditional model of schooling, they leave the public school system to homeschool their own kids, I feel like that speaks so much in volume about that area in our world, about those schools. And I just really think that it really shows a different side of it. So that's why I'm excited to go through this. Now, she starts off this first chapter. It is called When You Check the Wrong Box. And, you know, I wasn't real sure where we were going to go with that. But she starts off in describing a situation as moms that I feel like we have all been in. It is a situation where she has her daughter, she's a 7th grader, at a like a well check appointment at a doctor's office, and the doctor is not the doctor that she's been going to her whole life. This is like a new doctor for them, and the doctor is not supportive of homeschooling and does not like this choice that they have made for their family. And she starts off right with that story. And I feel like as moms, as homeschool moms, we have all been in that situation where we have been confronted by an authoritative figure in, like she says, a white lab coat that looks very official, has degrees all over their office, and seems like the person who would know what's what and what we should do. And I feel like we've all been there. We have all been there where we have been in a position where we are feeling very inadequate as moms, as followers of Christ, with the decisions that we are making for our families. So I even made a note here in mine: a fancy degree or uniform does not make one intelligent, especially about someone else's family. Can I just throw that in there? Because so many times we are so quick to judge, or others are quick to judge us about the decisions you're making in your family, without knowing the whole story. And of course, in this situation, I think that homeschooling is best for a majority of families, but it's definitely the best choice for our personal family. And I feel like, sometimes we've all been there. We've been in a position where we are looking at this authoritative figure, whoever it may be, and feeling like we checked the wrong box. And here she's talking about the box on the form, like the new patient paperwork that says where she goes to school, and she selected other, which I think the choices were public, private, or other, and she selected other, and is now kind of getting this, I don't know if you'd call it the runaround, but just a lot of these glances and side eyes and kind of, that wasn't the best choice from the doctor. Okay, we've all been there. I know we have. And it's important that she's kind of addressing that. She says, I've been promoting homeschooling for years on my blog, and I've been helping other moms, but in that moment I felt so unqualified, so inadequate with what to say and how to approach this. We've all been there. We all get it. And it's true. We want to do the best for our kids. We want to do the very best for them as moms, as homeschoolers, as homeschool moms, and to feel that, it's always kind of there. It's always like that little bit of doubt that's always there that says, maybe we aren't doing the right thing. Maybe everything I've been thinking and saying is wrong. And it's wrong to think that that's true. That's not the path that God has planned for us. That's just Satan that's creeping up inside of our little minds, as he always is doing and is so good at. And that's not from God. So God is telling us what to do, and we're listening and we're doing, but there's always going to be that moment of doubt, and it comes. In fact, I even like how this book has a little tagline on the front, and it says, "How to squash doubt, trust God, and teach your children with confidence." And I love that little quote so much. If you get nothing else, that is the one that you need to get. And she agrees clearly, because it's on the front cover of this book. So, she gives us some things that people have said. People have contacted her, emailed her, messaged her, and they've said things to her, but, like, I can barely afford any curriculum, and public schools have so much available. I get it. I've actually done multiple videos on how to design your own curriculum. I've done multiple videos on how to homeschool for free, how to do all these different things, and without spending a ton of money. If you are familiar with my channel, you know that I do that a lot. I promote ways that people can use what you already have, or go to thrift stores, and whatever they happen to have is what you're going to thrive with. And I do that all the time. I do book videos all the time, and I share with you guys. Because why? Because I don't want you guys to feel like you cannot do this just because you don't have a large income, because the majority of people who are homeschooling are on one income, a single income. You've already made all the sacrifices. You've already decided you're not going to get the fancy haircuts and go on fancy vacations and get your nails done and all these things. And you need to be able to still afford this. So that is what I share with you guys. I'll be talking probably a lot more about that throughout this book as we go through it together. But then she starts talking about What about if I have gaps in learning? How do I know what to teach them? What about my special needs child, my strong-willed child, my difficult child? Maybe I'm not organized or creative enough. I'm just not enough. I feel like I'm neglecting my little ones. How do I be a mom and a teacher at the same time? My kids are just arguing all the time. My family's not really, extended family's not really on board. All of these things are so common and they're so normal, and we think, oh, one or two of these things comes up, we must not be supposed to homeschool, we are doing the wrong thing. And it's interesting because as I was reading through this list, if you just reverse a lot of these, it's interesting how they still apply to public schools too. Okay, for example, I can barely afford my curriculum, and public schools have billions of dollars at their disposal to educate the masses. Yes, billions of dollars at their disposal, but did you know, I've looked at a graph recently, and it was the amount of administrators, not teachers, administrators that have been hired in the past, I think it was 10 years, and the salaries that they're paying was through the roof. So just because they have a lot of funds available does not mean it's actually going to the kids. So something that people don't talk about, right? What about learning gaps? Okay, who decided that, at third grade we learn cursive, and at fourth grade we learn multiplication, and if you do multiplication at fifth grade or sixth grade, then you're behind. Okay, that was all just decided by the public school institutions. That wasn't actually, there's nothing that goes behind that. And if you learn it here or there, whether you learn it at this age or that age, you still learn it. You're still good. I always use the example, all of our kids when they were very little learned how to talk and walk and crawl and potty train all at different ages. And as first-time moms, we're all kind of thinking, oh my gosh, if they're not potty trained by 2, they're behind and they're never going to catch up. They're probably going to college and they're going to just not be potty trained. And we just start telling ourselves all these ridiculous things, and it's not true. I just want to say that my kiddo that learned to walk at 9 months and my kiddo that learned to walk at almost a year and a half both walk perfectly fine right now. As at the ages that they are, they both walk perfectly fine. My kiddo that was speaking very, very clearly and knew tons, like hundreds of signs in sign language, and was speaking very clearly at 11 months, speaks just as well as my kiddo who at 4 was still struggling to speak clearly and nobody could understand what he was saying. We all learn at different ways, and we all learn at different times. We are all different. So the learning gaps, you'll get there. You'll get there. And if you don't, honestly, we live in a world that, if as adults, even as an adult, so I was an adult or a kid who went through school at the same school, kindergarten through graduate, okay? And there were no gaps because I've never moved, I never changed schools, I went to the same school, okay? As a college kid, when I got to college, there were still things that I didn't know. There's still things today that I'm going, wait, okay, I don't know. I need to look that up. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. Let me look that up. I don't know. There just will be, okay? But we like to just beat ourselves down as moms and homeschool moms. We just like to doubt. We like to doubt. We like to take it and just doubt everything that we're doing. So she talks a little bit about, we decided to follow God when we decided to homeschool, and we decided to homeschool our kids knowing that it was going against the grain, knowing that it was going against what the world was telling us and has been telling us for hundreds of years is the right way to do things. Never mind that multiple presidents and successful people were homeschooled or only got to school through 8th grade or 9th grade or 6th grade and became this or that successful leaders or presidents or whatever. We just kind of seem to just brush all that under the rug and ignore that. So I like that she mentions on page 16 that we're going to be looking at kind of checking those fears, looking in on those things, acknowledging the fears that you have with it as a homeschool mom, and bringing them forward. And because I feel like that is what she's trying to say here is when you don't realize or you haven't addressed those fears within yourself, then when somebody else brings them up to you, you start to go along with whatever they're saying. Something that people have told us in the past was, how long are you going to do this homeschool thing? It's really cute, but when are you going to seriously put them in school so that they can really learn? And we've already addressed that. It's not happening. They're going to be homeschooled the whole time. So since I've already addressed it within myself, when people bring that up, it's not something that I start second guessing, like, oh, you're right. Maybe I should start putting them in public school. Okay, now that we're getting to middle school or high school, yeah, maybe we should start thinking about some other choices. No, because we've already addressed it within ourselves, and my husband and myself, even our children. So, this is really interesting. A little tidbit here. Still on page 16, it says, without support, more than a third of homeschool moms quit within the first year. Again, if you don't know the choices and why you made them and what your stance truly is, then you're going to follow whenever those people bring those fears up. She says you need anxiety-free homeschooling. I underlined this. What you need is a refocused vision for the story God has uniquely written for you and yours. A homeschooling manifesto. I love that. I did that once several years back. I kind of came up with a plan for our year and a little motto for our year. And it was good. I hung it up on the wall where we were homeschooling, and it was a nice little reminder, a little daily reminder about why we were doing what we were doing and what the path was, what the goal was. She says, what you need is the courage to check the wrong box with bravery. The normal path to courageous homeschooling is a never-ending, winding journey that will eventually lead to brave. It's usually a 2 steps forward, 1 step back sort of shuffle. Boy, ain't that the truth. I mean, really. I have kids in all various stages of homeschooling at this moment. I have 7 kiddos, and my oldest is 8th grade. My youngest is 3. I have a set of twins in 1st grade. I have a 3rd grader. I have a 5th grader. I have a 6th grader. And we're at all the stages. We're doing all the different things. We're learning fractions. We're learning to read. We're doing all these things in this vast area. And there are some kiddos that are thriving here and not so well here. But you know what? You know what people never tell you? That's happening in public school too. There are kids that are struggling with fractions in public school too. There are kids that go to the next grade without even having mastered whatever it was that they were struggling on. And there are kiddos that are in 5th and 6th grade struggling with reading. There are. And we tend to kind of forget that and assume, but they're in public school where they're getting professional help. And we just kind of don't talk about it. But those same things, those same struggles, those same problems are there too. And we just pretend like they're only in our homes. And so it's only us. And that's not true. She says, I'm only attempting to be transparent and honest with you so that you don't see your fear as a personal failure or a lack of commitment, but instead as a natural part of your progression. I love that. One of the many necessary steps you'll take in order to go from where you are now on the journey to where you want to be in the end. Exactly. So homeschool is a journey. We need to remember that. They don't have to learn ABC within this year, okay? They can go to the next year or the next year and still be learning those same skills, okay? If you've looked at homeschool or even school curriculum for very much, you notice that it repeats. History repeats itself throughout the different years. You'll learn American history and then you'll move forward a few, and then guess what? You come back and you're at American history again. You do the same thing with math. You do the same thing. You just keep kind of repeating and reiterating those same skills, but at a different level or a different way. And that's that's perfectly okay. It's okay. And it's okay to move forward without having mastered, something else in another subject. It's okay. But we like to just kind of doubt ourselves. We like to just, and just really like take ourselves down. And we don't need to do that. We just need to trust God, like she says. So, wrapping this up, she says, and I am sure of this is from Philippians 1:6, and I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. She says, it was he who began this work in my daughter, he who had called me to homeschool, he who ordered her days. She goes on and on. This is the part I really love. It was God who placed the call on my heart when I began feeling a tug toward homeschool education. He later affirmed that call through his word, through the specific life circumstances he had given me, through the wisdom and counsel of many other Christians he had placed around me. Even this video, this channel right now, God has brought you here because whatever it is, whatever video you're watching, this one or another one, he's brought that to you. He's brought that to you to show you that you are not alone and that you are on the right path and it can be done. She says, I was just following in obedience. In my own might, I would fail her. She's talking about her daughter. That's true. But I'm only human. He would never fail her. God would never fail our children. Of course, our children are his children. I love that. Okay, now she gives a little, I even circled this or drew a little bubble because it's cute. At the top right here, page 18. This is another author, Jamie C. Martin. She wrote Give Your Child the World, Raising Globally Minded Kids One Book at a Time. Okay, side note, she has a fantastic book. I absolutely love it. I own it, and I recommend you grab it as well. It is very, very good, and maybe I'll go through it one day, but I don't know. But it has a ton of book lists in the back with, like she said, raising globally minded kids. Our kids need to be aware of the world and what's going on and where they stand and fit in this world. Yeah, it's just a very good book. So she has a little quote here from this woman. It says, listen closely, this is important. Increasingly high-profile universities are actively recruiting homeschooling graduates because they recognize traits they believe will make successful students. Highly motivated, self-starters, determined, and with a strong, supportive family backing. Okay, I've done several videos talking about college. I did one in God Schooling, and in the God Schooling series, I did, I think, 2 referencing college. So check that series out. I will link it below. But I also did just other, like I did a Q&A video once about college, and I will, if I can find all these, I will link them for you guys. But do not listen to the lies that colleges are not hiring or are not allowing homeschool kids to come to their schools, because they are actively seeking them out in actuality. And maybe homeschool or maybe college isn't the path your family wants to take. I'm really not sure that it's for us. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but it's not the end all be all. But in our society, the world thinks, especially the baby boomers, thinks that college is like, if you go to college, you must really know your stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have an associate's degree. I have a bachelor's and a master's, and there's so much I still don't know. Okay. And I don't even have them hanging up because I don't think that they're an accurate representation of my strengths, my skills, my abilities at all. At all. When I think about things that I learned, I'm like, wow, it was actually more of a waste of time. Now that's personal. That's our own experience or whatever. But if college is like where your goal is, okay, it is reassuring to know that high profile universities, okay, the good colleges are actively recruiting homeschooling graduates because they have the traits that they really want. And that means they are seeking out kids who have homeschooled their whole life. So if that's your standard of greatness, there's your justification. Like, it's there. The proof is there. If that's not your standard, it's still true that employers are looking for these kinds of people, and we're not making the wrong choice. We are going to go through this book. We need to learn how to squash doubt, trust God, and teach our children with confidence. That's why we selected this book. It's been on my reading list now for a few years. So like I said, do pick up your own copy. I don't want you just to watch this and just think that I'm touching on the whole book, because I am not. I am just hitting the high points. Why? Because Jamie Erickson did the work. She made the book for us, and I encourage you guys to support her as well. So grab the book for yourself. Also, then you have it for yourself. You can highlight through it, and you can reference it as many times as you want. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll do chapter 2 next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you haven't already, do check out the other videos on my channel, as well as the other book series I've already gone through. They're all linked below, so you can easily find them, and they're all very, very good. So I will see you guys next time.